In this world, the more longevity blood a female consumes, the stronger the beast man she can marry. Yet the stunning female before me, despite drinking 83 huge bowls, hasn't stirred the heart of the male beside her even slightly. Instead, he seems to have eyes only for me, a woman who drank but a single bowl. His gaze is fixed on me alone. He has never seen a woman with such fair and delicate skin. She is so beautiful, she seems out of this world. Zhao's tribe is the most powerful in these mountains and forests. Beautiful women are not scarce here. Yet not one could stir his heart. From the very first moment he saw me, he wanted to claim me as his own. That's why he chose me, even though I'd only had one bowl of blood. I can feel his gaze growing increasingly intense. And a chill runs through my heart. I thought I had escaped the jaws of wild beasts, only to realize I've fallen into a den of savages. I don't know how much time passed, but his rough fingers brushed against my face, and then he got up and left. I slowly opened my eyes, feeling as though my entire body has been crushed. The pain is excruciating. Amu, she's awake. She's so frail and weak. How can she ever bear children for Xiao? Amu's voice is filled with dissatisfaction. Xiao gave her the longevity blood, which means he's chosen her. She'll get better if we nurse her back to health slowly. I wonder which tribe she came from. Her clothes are so strange and fancy. Amu glanced at the torn garments on the floor. Bring the food Xiao left for her. As soon as Amu finished speaking, Ayue walked up to me carrying a plate. You are Zhao's first woman. It would be bad luck if something happened on your first day. The food had a strong, gamey stench. The charred skin was cracked and split. And the inside was still raw and bloody. In the modern world, I only ate my steak well done. Forget eating this thing. Just one look makes me want to gag. I am starving, my stomach is stuck to my back, but my throat feels as if it's blocked by something. I simply cannot open my mouth. Eat it, quickly. Amu grabbed a piece of meat and tried to shove it into my mouth. I frowned and took a small bite. But I couldn't help spitting it all out. Amu flared up in anger instantly. Don't you know? Only those with status are worthy of touching this food? Ayue quickly used a leaf to bring back some water. I held the leaf and took a few sips. Then collapsed back down, exhausted. Just then, a tall figure headed straight for the wooden hut. Under the musky sunlight, he actually looks quite handsome. His features are rugged and broad, radiating a natural sense of authority. Even by modern standards, he'd be a very masculine hunk. I quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at it this way, being his woman might not be a bad deal. Besides, he seems to treat me fairly well. As Xiao walked toward the wooden hut, Yulan suddenly rushed out to block his path. When are you going to choose me to be your woman? Get out of the way. I am the best woman in the tribe. Yulan stubbornly stood in front of him. Xiao grabbed Yulan by the arm. A flash of joy crossed Yulan's face, and she lunged at him excitedly. With a thud, Yulan was thrown heavily to the ground. Xiao stepped around her, strode into the hut, and gently stroked my head, his face full of tenderness. How are you feeling? Yulan's teeth chattered as she clenched her jaw in fury. This woman is too weak. Amu observed as Xiao sat by the beastskin bed, pulling me into his embrace. Why aren't you eating anything? I opened my eyes slightly and glanced at him. I want to eat too. But you guys have to give me something edible. Go outside and bring a small beast. Very soon, Ayue came in carrying a plump little beast. Xiao pulled out the stone axe from his waist, and with a swift swing of his hand, the small beast's head went rolling away. Sitting on his lap, I witnessed this scene firsthand, and I was scared out of my wits. Is he trying to intimidate me by killing it right here? Ayue used a stone knife to gut the small beast, and dug out a heart from its belly. Still dripping with blood, it was handed directly to Xiao. Then, the organ was brought to my lips. Eat this, and your body will grow strong. Though I couldn't understand the words, I knew he wanted me to eat it. Good heavens, why are they making me eat something so bloody again? I swallowed hard with difficulty, my voice trembling. Can we cook it? Xiao seemed to understand my intent. He handed the organ back to Ayue. Take it and roast it over the fire. The heart is roasted. Ayue walked in carrying the roasted heart. The aroma of meat wafted through the room. I took a small bite. Suddenly, I remembered the barbecue in the alley near my school, covered in cumin and chili powder. That fragrance is still unforgettable. She eats so little. She won't survive long. Amu brought in a large plate of roasted meat, her voice tinged with worry. I want her, Xiao said, watching me chew slowly, his eyes full of affection. After I finished the skewer of roasted heart, Xiao picked up another piece of roasted meat and offered it. Eat one more piece. I quickly shook my head. Seeing my refusal, Xiao bit off a piece himself and fed it to me. I couldn't help but let out a satisfied burp, which made him burst into laughter. My body instinctively curled up. He gently but firmly pried my limbs open, and leaned over me. It was another storm of passion. I don't know how long it lasted, but I was left exhausted in his arms. He carried me to a clear little stream nearby, and placed me in the water. Then he shed his beast skins, and waded into the stream himself. He reached out and pulled me into his chest, letting me sit on his lap. For the first time I took a proper look at him. His face had sharp, well-defined features, and my cheeks involuntarily flushed red. They say when God closes a door, He opens a window for you. Though I've accidentally traveled to this savage land, heaven hasn't treated me unkindly. It gave me such a reliable protector. After the bath, he carried me out of the stream. Leaning against his warm chest, I quickly fell into a deep sleep. I don't know how much more time passed, but I woke up feeling terribly unwell. I was shivering uncontrollably from the cold, yet my body was burning hot to the touch. "Emma, she's awake!" Aiwa shouted out in pleasant surprise. Emu leaned over to glance at me, her expression showing some disdain. How could Xiao have taken a liking to such a woman? My throat felt like it was on fire, and I struggled to utter a single word, water. "Emu, what is she saying?" Aiwa couldn't understand me. What else could she be saying? People with fever always want water before they die. Emu replied coldly. Aiwa quickly brought some water and fed me a few sips. "Emu, she won't die, will she? Xiao has gone to pick the fruit of the gods for her. She can only survive if she eats that fruit." Xiao went to pick the fruit of the gods? Why didn't you say so sooner? Emu's face changed instantly. That place is guarded by vicious beasts. Everyone who went to pick those fruits was torn to pieces. If we lose Xiao, our tribe will be carved up by the others. Aiwa looked like she was about to cry. Emu didn't say another word, and walked out of the hut with a grim face. I lay on the beast skins, raising my hand to touch my forehead. My fever must be at least 39 degrees. I have to find a way to sweat and bring the fever down. I was a botany professor at the Imperial Capital University, specializing in medicinal plants. For a cold and fever like this, if only I could find banlongen, honeysuckle, fine-leaf schizonepida, or Hatuinia cordata, I would be saved. Suddenly, I remembered during my bath, there was a dense patch of fine-leaf schizonepida growing by the stream. I looked at Ayue, who was quietly wiping her tears away. With great effort, I raised my finger and pointed to myself. Shoo! I softly repeated the last sound of the plant's name. I nodded. I drew a sketch of the schizonepida on the dirt floor, carefully outlining its broad leaves with my finger. Then I pointed it out to her. She stared at the drawing on the ground. "You want this kind of grass?" I nodded again. She immediately turned and ran outside. I don't know how much time passed, but Ayue returned. As expected, she was clutching a large handful of schizonepida. "Anshin, wake up quickly. I picked the smelly grass you wanted." She gently shook me awake, holding the schizonepida before my eyes. Delighted, I gave her a thumbs up. Then, I gestured for boiling water and drinking. She looked puzzled, imitating my gestures tentatively. "Do you want to boil it and drink it?" A little while later, she came in with a thick, small stone pot. Inside, the schizonepida was brewing. She used a leaf to scoop up some of the liquid, carefully supporting me, and helped me drink it. Not until the pot was nearly empty did I collapse back onto the skins. When I woke up, it was pitch black outside. I had broken out in a heavy sweat, and my once heavy body suddenly felt much lighter. The fever must have broken. Ayue wasn't in the hut. Outside, there was a clamor of voices. Several roaring bonfires illuminated the tribe's open grounds as bright as day. The people of the tribe seemed to be in a heated argument over something. I couldn't understand their noisy language, but I could clearly feel the tension thick in the air. At that moment, Ayue came stumbling inside. "Anshin, Emu and the elders want to burn you to bring back Xiao." Before she could finish her sentence, several men walked in from outside. One of them stared at me with ill intent, suddenly lunging forward and ripped the beast skin off my body. I let out a blood-curdling scream. Ayue let out a roar of anger, immediately pouncing forward and quickly wrapped the beast skin back around me. "The elder said she's a sinner, and she must be burned to death." The man stared at me with wicked eyes. "She is Zhao's woman. Don't you dare touch her." Ayue stood defensively in front of me. Emu walked over and pulled her aside. "Xiao has been gone for so long and hasn't returned. If we don't burn her as a sacrifice, Xiao will never come back." Two men immediately stepped forward to grab my arms and dragged me outside. I gave an angry shout and delivered a sharp slap to his face. The entire tribe stood stunned. The man let out a roar of rage, drew the stone axe from his waist, and swung it toward me. I closed my eyes in despair. There was a dull thud, but the axe didn't fall on me. Instead, the man was sent flying, landing 3 or 4 meters away on the ground. He vomited a mouthful of blood with a gasp. Xiao let out a furious roar at the crowd around the bonfire. The once noisy crowd fell silent instantly. Everyone looked at him in terror. In the vast clearing, only the crackling sound of the burning bonfire remained. The moment I opened my eyes and saw him, tears began to stream down my face. I threw myself into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Zhao's fierce gaze softened instantly. He pulled me into a tight embrace, glaring coldly at the crowd. "Why did you try to kill my woman?" "To treat her illness. You went to pick the fruit of the gods. If we hadn't offered her to the gods, you wouldn't have returned." One of the elders stepped forward. "I have returned. And I have the fruit of the gods." Xiao raised his other hand high. In his hand was a beastskin pouch filled with bright red fruit. Suddenly remembering something, he felt my forehead with his large hand. He was pleasantly surprised. "You've recovered." Xiao, your woman drank the water boiled from smelly grass and she got better after a sleep. Ayue quickly stepped forward. That wasn't smelly grass. It's schizonepida, which can cure Anshin's fever. I looked up, and he saw the guilt in my eyes. He picked me up in his arms and announced loudly to everyone. She is my woman. No one is allowed to bully her. Anyone who bullies her is my enemy. Kill them all. After a moment of dead silence, the entire tribe erupted into thunderous cheers. Xiao carried me, stepping over the man wailing on the ground, and strode back to the hut. In a corner of the tribe, Yulan clenched her fists tightly. Her beautiful eyes filled with a murderous glare. Back at the hut, Xiao gently placed me on the beastskin bed, leaned down to give me a firm kiss on my lips, then hurriedly presented the beastskin bag to me. This is the fruit of the gods. It was meant to help drive away your fever. I took a bright red fruit and took a bite. An intense sourness exploded in my mouth instantly. After the sourness, a refreshing sweetness followed, leaving me feeling invigorated. No wonder the tribe treats it as a divine fruit. Such a sour fruit must be rich in vitamin C, which can boost the immune system. Combined with some unknown medicinal properties, it really can cure illnesses. However, I never want to take a second bite. The taste is just too intense. I'd better save it for further study. Xiao held me close. What is this smelly grass? Ayue quickly brought over the small stone pot. This is the smelly grass water Anshin drank. Xiao looked at the weeds in the stone pot. His thick eyebrows slightly furrowed. I hurriedly gestured and tried to explain. It's a very good herbal medicine, and it can also be eaten as a vegetable. Wait until tomorrow, Anshin will pick more to cook for you. I don't know if Xiao understood me, but he just watched me intently with his deep eyes. His gaze clear and tender. Xiao hasn't eaten since he got back. Go get some food for him. I felt my face flush under his gaze. I quickly changed the subject. Ayue understood my gesture and ran out happily. Soon, she brought in some roasted meat. Xiao cut off a piece and placed it in my hand, indicating we should eat together. Looking at that piece of red meat, I missed modern rice porridge and beef noodles so much. Even a bowl of simple chicken soup would do. I swallowed my saliva, and a vision of steaming chicken soup appeared in my mind, glistening with oil, with a big chicken leg in it. Is there a larger stone pot in the tribe? I pointed to the small stone pot in front of me, and gestured the size of a watermelon. He followed my gesture, then shook his head. This is the biggest one we have. These hollowed-out stone pots are hard to find. So you want a stone pot? Xiao seemed to understand my meaning. A big one, preferably this big. I gestured again, then waved my hand in disappointment. Never mind, it's okay if you don't have one. After eating, Xiao lay down and held me. He must have been exhausted. With his arms around me, he fell asleep very quickly. The next day, I was woken up by a loud noise. The sun was already high in the sky. Xiao wasn't in the hut. I followed the sound and went out. Xiao was nearby, swinging a stone axe, smashing hard against a large green rock. He was drenched in sweat, his bronze skin glistening in the sunlight. What is Xiao doing? I walked up to Ayue. Anshin, you're awake. Xiao is making a stone pot for you. He said you wanted a big one. My heart warmed. I walked over. Xiao stopped what he was doing when he saw me, wiped the sweat from his face, and grinned at me. You're awake? Wait a bit longer, it's almost done. Two men nearby wanted to help, but Xiao wouldn't let them. Ayue's eyes were full of envy. Xiao said this pot is for you, so he must do it all by himself. Looking at the sweat-soaked Xiao, I was deeply moved. I stood on my tiptoes and gave him a gentle kiss on the lips. Xiao reached out and hugged my waist, leaned down and kissed my forehead firmly, then handed me over to Ayue, and turned back to swing the axe again. After quite a while, the stone pot was finally finished. Xiao carried the pot and walked up to me, his sweat soaking through his beast skins. Is this what you wanted? It's exactly like this. Xiao, you're amazing. Xiao didn't understand what I said, but seeing my eyes curve with a smile, a sense of great satisfaction welled up in his heart. I'm going hunting. You stay here in the tribe. Xiao looked at me, his gaze tender. I understood the word for hunting. I smiled and nodded. Okay. Be careful. I'll wait for your safe return. Xiao seemed to understand my words. He nodded, and the smile on his lips grew wider. He looked at me as if waiting for something. I was a bit confused by his gaze. I already told him to be careful. Why hasn't he left yet? Could it be? My face turned red. I stood on my tiptoes and kissed his lips again. He let out a long, satisfied laugh, then turned and strode out of the hut. I was speechless. How does a savage like him know how to ask for a kiss? At noon, Ayue and I returned to the tribe after gathering herbs. Before we even reached the hut, we heard a woman's heart-wrenching screams. Ayue's face turned pale. It's Ajia. She's giving birth. She pulled me toward the tribe, and we rushed into the hut, panting. Ajia was lying on the beastskin bed, clutching her stomach and screaming in pain. The bed was covered in blood. It was a bloody mess between her legs, with blood constantly gushing out, but the baby's head was nowhere to be seen. Push! Amu was shouting urgently on the side, reaching out to push on Ajia's belly. Every time she pushed, Ajia would let out a scream of agony. Ajia, you're bleeding so much. Aiwe rushed over to grab Ajia's hand. Seeing her pale, bloodless face, she burst out crying in fear. I quickly went forward to check. Ajia was several centimeters dilated. But because she had lost too much blood, her strength was exhausted. Aimu's pushing would only increase her suffering. Though I had never personally delivered a baby, I had the knowledge for it. I pushed Aimu aside. Her face darkened immediately. What are you doing? If you don't want her to die, stay out of the way. I grabbed the sobbing, hyperventilating Aiwe. Where are the herbs we gathered? This won't do. We must induce her labor. I grabbed a handful of horsetail and shoved it into her hand. Go and boil this, quickly. Aiwe scooped water into the stone pot. And soon the horsetail was ready. I was busy comforting Ajia. And shouted when I saw the decoction, make her drink it. She used a leaf to scoop up the medicine. And was about to give it to Ajia when Yulan suddenly rushed over and slapped the leaf away. You can't. Yulan said with disdain. Why did you spill the medicine? This can save Ajia's life. Aiwe roared in anger. The elder said that all plants on the mountain are poisonous. Yulan pointed at me. You say this can save Ajia? She is Zhao's woman. She won't lie to me. She isn't even from our tribe. I don't care. It's true that this can save Ajia. Go away. Aiwe cried as she pushed Yulan away. She picked up a leaf to fetch water again. Yulan's face contorted with rage. She raised her hand and knocked over the small stone pot. The herbal water spilled all over the ground. A loud slap landed on Yulan's face. Yulan. Aiwe was trembling with rage. She jumped up, ready to fight her. I looked at Yulan with fierce eyes. Get out. If you interfere again, I won't let you off. I shouted at Aiwe. Save her first. Boil the medicine again. Yulan looked at me with malicious eyes. She picked up the stone pot and ran out. Aimu. Hurry and stop that woman. She's going to poison Ajia to death. Ajia's painful screams grew weaker and weaker. Don't worry, the herbal water is here. I immediately gave instructions. Aiwe rushed in hurriedly, carrying the stone pot. Feed Ajia the herbal water. The more, the better. Right after Aiwe fed the herbal water to Ajia, I told her to go and stew some meat broth. After drinking the herbs and the broth, Ajia's belly began to have strong contractions. With my help, she gritted her teeth and pushed hard. The baby was born with a loud cry. Xiao also returned at that moment. After hearing what had happened, he picked me up in his arms. She is my woman. From now on, her words are as good as mine. As night fell, Xiao sat by the bonfire, holding me. I got up to serve the meat broth, but Zhao's arm wrapped around my waist again. I blew on the hot soup and held it to his lips. Taste this. It's just a bit bland. If only there were salt. Salt? What is salt? It's something that makes food delicious. Unfortunately, there isn't any here. Wait, there might be salt mines or brine in the forest. Tomorrow, I'll extract some crude salt from wood ash first, and then have Xiao take me to look for more. After we finished eating, I leaned against Xiao's shoulder. My eyelids felt heavy. Xiao carried me back to the hut, helped me remove the beast skins, and held me in his arms as we fell asleep. I don't know how much time passed, but I was woken up by him turning over. I saw Xiao looking up at the night sky. A strange wind was blowing outside the hut. I wrapped myself tighter in the beast skin blanket. Why is this hut so drafty? Xiao looked up as well. When I woke up the next morning, I opened my eyes groggily. The birds were chirping loudly outside. People in the tribe were walking and laughing. But no light was coming into the hut. With a creak, Xiao opened a door. Dazzling sunlight streamed in. I saw that he had remodeled the hut. Dry grass and large leaves were wrapped in a thick layer over the walls. He had even made a door that could be opened. You're awake. Do you like it? You mentioned it last night, so I covered the hut. I love it, I love it. I threw myself into his arms. Outside, Aiwe came in with broth and grilled meat. I took the food and ate slowly, learning their language from her. After practicing for a long time, I figured out some of their pronunciation rules. As long as they spoke slowly, I could understand the gist of it. As I ate the bland food, I wanted to perform my experiment even more. I gestured that I needed a lot of wood ash and water. From beneath 3 large bonfires, we scraped out a large tray of ash. I stirred it into a large stone pot and waited for the impurities to settle. I filtered out the water containing the crude salt. After boiling all the water away, lots of yellowish-white crude salt remained at the bottom. I scraped it off with a stone knife. After being busy for most of the day, I finally boiled down salt the size of a quail egg. This is salt. Aiwe leaned in curiously. I put a little on my finger and offered it to her lips. She licked it and immediately spat it out. It's terrible. I laughed uncontrollably. My back was supported by a warm, strong hand. Xiao, you're back. Anqin. What is this? Xiao sat down and pulled me onto his lap. This is salt. I put a bit on my finger and offered it to him, smiling. He took my finger into his mouth without hesitation. Bitter. Of course it's not good to eat it like this. This taste is called salty. It's the taste of salt. Xiao shook his head. It wasn't good. Of course not like this. I patted his chest. Soon I'll show you all the magic of salt. I sprinkled salt on the grilled meat and handed it to him. Here, try the food with salt. Xiao took a bite. With a look of surprise. The food had become incredibly delicious. Ayue also took a bite. It's so delicious. For the next few days, I was busy making salt from the wood ash, and researching how to fire pottery. Ayue and I added firewood to the 3 large fires. We put the clay pots and bowls I made last night inside to fire. After firing them for an hour, I saw we were running out of yellow clay and sand. I pulled her along to dig more yellow soil and sand outside the tribe. Just as we walked back into the tribe circle, we heard a commotion inside. I rushed into the tribe and saw the women kneeling and kowtowing. Several elders and Zhao's mother stood before the 3 extinguished fires. Their faces grave. Ayue let out a scream, knelt, and cried, "Our fire is gone. Without fire, we can't. The tribe will perish." Yulan stood up from the crowd and pointed at me, shouting, "She's the one who put out the fire. Inside the furnace, she put a lot of things that wouldn't burn in the ash. Quickly, seize her. Seize her. She used soil to extinguish the fire. If we don't sacrifice her to the gods will never grant us heavenly fire again." The women all stood up and shouted, surrounding me. "You can't do this," Xiao said. "Whoever bullies his woman is his enemy." Ayue blocked them for me. "How did you get your fire?" I pulled on her arm. "The fire was sent from the sky by the gods. Only when white fire flashes in the sky can we find fire on the trees. But it hasn't flashed in the sky for a long time." I suddenly realized. They don't know how to start a fire. They rely on lightning striking trees to get fire seeds. This woman caused us to lose our fire. And you're still protecting her? Are you possessed by an evil god too? Yulan pushed through the crowd and glared at Ayue. "Get away, or you'll be killed too." As a sacrifice to the gods, Ayue was trembling with fear. But she refused to leave. "Yulan, you're lying." Anqin saved Ajia and her child. She was sent by the gods. Yulan raised her hand and slapped her hard. "She put out the fire. She's an evil god. You dare protect her? When Xiao returns, he will kill her too." "Stop. What are you all doing here?" A man's voice called out. The women made way immediately. "Xiao. The fires have gone out." Amu stepped forward. Xiao looked at the 3 piles of ash, his expression turning cold instantly. Yulan followed behind Amu. "The fire the gods gave us is gone. If we don't sacrifice her to the gods, disaster will fall on the tribe." I shook my head. "It wasn't me. I just buried my pottery in there to fire it. Someone in the tribe is assigned to watch the fire. If wood was added in time, how could the fires go out?" My woman says. "She didn't put it out." Xiao pulled me into his arms. "Whoever says my woman put out the fire again, I will cut off their head." The crowd reflexively shrank back. Amu looked full of worry. "Xiao, if we don't sacrifice to the gods, who knows when we'll get fire again? I will go to other tribes for fire. Why would they give it to us? If they don't give it, I'll kill them and take it." After saying that, Xiao raised his stone axe and roared, "All males, take your axes. Follow me to seize the fire." The other men also raised their axes and shouted, "Don't go." I grabbed his arm. "When the gods sent me here, they gave me the seed of fire." I raised my hands. "What? You brought fire from the sky? Where is it?" "The fire is in my hands. But Yulan said I'm an evil god. She scared me, so the fire won't come out for now. The gods told me that unless Yulan is driven out, the fire in my palm will never come out." "Xiao, please don't listen to her nonsense." Zhao's face turned grim. "Men, throw her out of the tribe." Yulan trembled with fear. With a thud, she knelt on the ground. "Xiao, please, I beg you, don't throw me out." Amu blocked him. "Xiao, she saved my life once. Don't drive her out." "Fine then. The gods say they can forgive you." I waved my hand. "If there is a next time, I can't guarantee I can convince the gods to spare you again." I found a dry piece of wood and a dry branch. I had Xiao sharpen one end of the branch. I dug a small hole in the middle of the wood, placed dry thatch and leaves inside, and poked the sharpened branch into the hole. I rubbed the branch between my palms to spin it. A minute or two later, smoke began to rise from deep within the hole. I sped up my movements. Ayue blew gently into the hole. A small flame suddenly burst out. I quickly added more thatch and leaves. Soon, we had a small bonfire. "It's done." I looked at Xiao proudly. He picked me up and held me high before everyone. "My woman is a goddess sent by the gods." The tribe people all knelt down in a huge crowd. The 3 large fires were relit. The tribe was filled with singing and dancing. Over the next few days, with my status as a goddess, the women of the tribe took the initiative to help me. I handed over the salt making to them, which made things much easier. Yulan also joined in. She became very respectful toward me, but she kept hanging around Ayue. Ayue became good friends with her again. Late that night, in the grass outside the tribe, a man was holding Yulan. "Yulan, I'll go tell Xiao to let you be my woman. You're already my man. What do you plan to do for me?" "I'll do anything you want." A cunning look flashed in Yulan's eyes. Lean your ear over here. Back in the hut, I sneezed for no reason. Early the next morning, Xiao took the men out to hunt. That man hid in a hut pretending to be sick. Only getting up after Xiao was far away. Goddess? Are you looking for that pool where the beasts like to go to lick the water? I saw many beasts licking the water there. You know where it is? Yes. Goddess, do you want to see it? I was a bit hesitant, but I decided to go take a look. After walking for a while, the man spotted Yulan waiting at their agreed spot. Aiyue ran over and grabbed her hand. Yulan, Ainan is taking us to play. Come with us. Goddess, is it okay if I go too? Yulan asked with a pitiful look. Let's take Yulan along. We can help carry the plants you gather. Aiyue pleaded. Fine then, let's go together. I nodded. Yulan pulled Aiyue and ran ahead. A cunning smile flashing across her face. The four of us walked down the mountain path for a long time, until we reached a low-lying valley. Where's the pool you mentioned? It's just ahead. My brow furrowed slightly. I felt something was wrong. Yulan quietly nudged the man with her elbow. Goddess, I remember it's past that tall grass. Let's go find it. The man led the way into the grass. I followed behind him. Yulan deliberately lagged behind, refusing to move forward. That's because what lay ahead wasn't a pool. It was a swamp that could swallow people whole. She had tricked the man into bringing me here, so she could push me into the mud herself. She had seen this swamp eat people when she was a child. As the man stepped into the grass, he found it was actually muck. The more he struggled, the faster he sank. He was quickly being swallowed. The man was the first to notice something was wrong. He walked into the middle, and suddenly his body plummeted. His calves were swallowed by the black mud. He screamed in terror, trying desperately to pull his legs out, but he only sank deeper. My heart went cold. Don't move. This is a swamp. Just as I said that, I felt my own legs sink. Aiyue's scream came from behind me. I looked back and saw her legs had also sunk deep. Don't move. Spread your arms. I shouted, as I tilted my body forward. I stopped sinking once the mud reached my waist, but the man continued to struggle and panic. The mud had already reached his neck. I told you not to move. I shouted anxiously. I pushed down with my body and was swallowed a bit more. I quickly balanced myself. Stop moving, that's the only way you'll survive. Following the wilderness survival methods I remembered, I slowly wiggled my left leg. My left leg slowly came free. Then I flattened my body, and slowly wiggled my right leg. I don't know how long it took, but I finally broke free from the swamp. Only the man's face remained floating above the surface. I lay flat on the swamp, paddling my limbs to move toward the shore. I finally exhaled when I grabbed the grass on the bank. After crawling onto the shore, I lay on the ground, gasping for air. The man in the swamp let out a desperate cry, and was swallowed by the mud in an instant. My heart went cold. I got up and shouted, Ainan. But he was already gone. Ainan is dead. Aiyue began to cry loudly. Her body began to sink further down. Don't cry. Don't be afraid. Listen to me. Stop moving. I'll find a way to save you. Am I going to die like Ainan? No. I shouted while crying, as I desperately snapped off a branch over a meter long. My hands were covered in blood from the bark. I took off my muddy bark apron, bit a hole in it, and slid it onto the middle of the branch. I grabbed both ends of the branch, and threw the apron toward her. Fortunately, it was just long enough to reach her hand. Grab it. I'll pull you up. She tried desperately to grab it. Just as her head was about to be swallowed, she finally caught a corner of the beast's skin. I pulled with all the strength I had, dragging her out of the muck bit by bit. Both of us were completely exhausted. After resting on the grass for a while, we hurried back. On the way, I saw a clear stream, and ran toward it excitedly. Anshin, you can't go there. That stream is the territory of the Fengyan tribe. A cold voice called out from nearby. A tall man walked out from the stream, followed by two women. We are the leaders of the Tianeo tribe. She is Zhao's woman. The man looked me up and down. He stepped forward, grabbed my arm, and dragged me into the water. Aiyue tried to stop him, but he slapped her to the ground. The man threw me into the water, and grabbed my throat. Let me go. I am Zhao's favorite woman. The man laughed loudly. He used the water to wash the mud off my body, revealing my fair, delicate skin. His eyes lit up. He threw me over his shoulder. Let go of me. I'm Zhao's woman. If you do anything to me, he will never let you off. I want you now. Let him come and fight for you. Whether he can take you depends on his skill. The man let out a cold, triumphant laugh. No. Don't. Aiyue chased after us on all fours, and grabbed the man's leg. Go back and tell Xiao that from now on, this woman is mine. The man kicked her away. Just then, a heavy stone crashed into the stream, splashing huge waves into the air. She is my woman. Put her down, or I will make you pay a heavy price. Zhao's voice called out from behind us. The man turned around, his eyes full of provocation. From now on, she belongs to me. This is my last warning. Put down my woman now, or I will cut off your head myself. Zhao's face was fierce. The man knew very well That Xiao was the absolute strongest among the 4 tribes. Today, he only had 2 women with him. So fighting Xiao would be too disadvantageous. Xiao, how about these 2? I'll exchange both of them for her? The man put me down unwillingly. And pushed the 2 women forward. Xiao's expression was icy. He stepped through the water and pulled me back to his side. I returned to the tribe in a half-conscious daze. I fell asleep as soon as I was in Zhao's arms. The meat broth is ready. Should we wake her up to eat something? Ayue brought the food in. Let her sleep. Xiao stroked my cheek tenderly. When that man tried to take her, it really scared us all to death. Her eyes turned red. She trembled as she remembered the scene. Why is your face so swollen? Xiao noticed her red, swollen cheek. And couldn't help but frown. It's okay, it wasn't your fault. You were no match for that man. Xiao waved his hand. Hearing Zhao's words of comfort, her cheeks turned red, and she lowered her head shyly. I opened my eyes. Just in time to see Xiao looking at her with concern. A wave of bitterness immediately flooded my heart. Xiao let go of her, and turned his head to look at me. Are you not happy that I'm awake? I pouted with a hint of jealousy. The leader of the Finyu tribe is here. Just then, another man rushed to the hut. He brought many women and prey. Stay here, don't go out. Zhao's face darkened, and he stood up to walk out of the hut. Xiao, I want to trade for your person. The man was straightforward. I've said I won't trade. My previous conditions were too few. Now, I brought 20 people for you. And 50 wild beasts. The man made a grand gesture. And 20 women stepped forward in front of Xiao, shedding their beast skins to show their bodies. Only 20 people and 50 prey? Am I worth only that much in your eyes? I suddenly walked out of the hut. If you think it's too little, I can add anything else. Be my woman. And I'll let you share the entire Fengyan tribe. The man's face was full of temptation. Anqin, go back in. Zhao's eyes were resolute. Her name is Anqin. It's a very beautiful name. Xiao, I can add 10 more women. Tomorrow, all the prey from our tribe will be given to you as well. The man looked at me with greedy eyes. Xiao flew into a rage. And smashed a punch into the man's face. The man fell to the ground. Blood spilling from the corner of his lips. Xiao, it's just a normal exchange. Is there any need for such anger? The man spat out a mouthful of bloody water. If you're like this, what other tribe would dare to trade with you? She can only be my woman. There is nothing that can be exchanged for her. Xiao picked me up and walked toward the hut. Drive them away. Leave no one behind. Xiao carried me into the hut. Seeing Ayue following us in, his voice became stern. Get out. The atmosphere in the hut was icy. Xiao sat on the beastskin bed. Why did you go out and speak to that man? 30 women plus a lot of prey. What a bargain to trade for just me. My voice was full of sarcasm. You can only be my woman. No male is allowed to touch you. Don't act like you're so devoted. You were just flirting with Ayue in front of me. I barely escaped death. Only to wake up and see you stroking her face with concern. I almost died in the swamp. And I was bullied by that man. Instead of comforting me, you criticize me. I hate you so much. I have already fallen in love with you. And I can't stand the thought of you giving your affection to anyone else. I don't want to share you with others. I started to cry loudly, beating against his chest. Xiao let me hit him. Then grabbed my hands, leaned down, and kissed my lips. He flipped over and pinned me down, pinching my cheeks. His gaze serious. Listen, you will be Zhao's only woman. You will only bear my offspring. And share everything of the Tianao tribe with me. Really? Really? I wouldn't lie to you. You've already filled this place. He pointed to the position of his heart. Outside the hut, Ayue sat on the ground, listening to the sounds from inside. Tears streaming from the corners of her eyes. She liked Xiao. But she knew I didn't like Xiao having other women. Besides, I had saved her life from the mud pool. She told herself that she could never like Xiao again. You're sitting here all by yourself? Yolan's voice came from nearby. I was so scared when I saw you both fall into the mud pool. I ran back to find Xiao for help. You were later rescued by Xiao. Ayue looked up. You clearly saw us sink in. Why didn't you call us back? I was scared. Yolan's voice was trembling. You were scared? I walked out, leaning against the hut's doorframe, looking at her coldly. You were scared, so you stood on the shore watching us struggle? You were scared, so you waited until we were almost dead to find Xiao? Yulan. Do you think I'll believe you? Xiao strode toward Yulan. Xiao, I didn't. I really didn't. Yulan fell to her knees. I was just terrified. Anan is dead. Zhao's voice had no warmth. He was a male of our tribe, my hunting brother, and you watched him die. I didn't mean to. Yulan cried and crawled to Amu's feet. Amu, save me. You know I'm not that kind of person. Amu's face was grim. Xiao, she indeed did wrong. But she is a woman of our tribe, after all. Anan is already dead. If we kill another woman, the tribe will suffer an even greater loss. Zhao's voice was as cold as ice. Amu, you taught me that everyone's life in the tribe is important. Anan is dead. Who will pay for his life? I'll hunt more in the future. I'll work harder. Anything. Please don't kill me. I'll never dare again. I watched this scene quietly. But complex emotions surged in my heart. Yulan wanted me dead. Of that I was absolutely certain. But in this era, the rule of a life for a life didn't necessarily apply. The tribe needed everyone who could work and reproduce. Amu was right. Killing Yulan would indeed be a loss for the tribe. But I couldn't just let her off the hook. Xiao. I walked over and gently pulled his hand. Let her live. Everyone was stunned. Including Yulan. Xiao frowned at me. But she must leave the tribe center. And live in the outermost hut. She cannot participate in meat distribution and can only eat what she hunts herself. She cannot approach the fire. And must use the fire she makes herself. She must pay the price for what she did. But she doesn't have to pay with her life. Xiao was silent for a moment, then nodded. Do as Anshin says. Yulan collapsed on the ground. Her face a blur of tears and sweat. Ayue walked over. And looked down at her. Yulan, Anshin saved your life. Remember that. That night, Yulan was taken to the outermost part of the tribe into a dilapidated wooden hut. Amu quietly brought her an old beast skin. And a pack of dried meat. Yulan held Amu's leg and cried, Amu. I really didn't, say no more. Amu sighed. Yulan. I've watched you grow up since you were little. I know what you're thinking in your heart. But remember. Anshin is the woman Xiao has chosen. If you plot against her again, no one will be able to save you. Yulan bit her lip. The hatred in her eyes suppressed by fear. But it hadn't disappeared. In the days that followed, the tribe slowly returned to peace. Every day I led the women in making salt, firing pottery, and gathering herbs. Every day before dawn, Xiao led the men to hunt. He stuffed a small furry creature into my arms. Round eyes. Soft fur. I gave him the name Tuanzi. Ayue especially liked Tuanzi. And came to my hut every day to play with him. Her attitude toward me became even more respectful. One day I pulled her aside to sit down. Ayue, tell me, do you like Xiao? Her face flushed bright red. Anshin, I really don't. Don't be nervous. You've been very good to me and I remember that. We are sisters, right? Sisters don't need to hide things. If you like Xiao, I don't blame you, but he only likes you. So I'm not afraid of other women liking him. Because I know his heart only has me. But what I fear is someone doing harmful things. Out of jealousy. Just like Yulan did. Ayue looked up. Her eyes clear. Anshin. I won't. I know. I patted her hand. So don't avoid me either. Just be like before. The good days passed like this day after day. And the bond between Xiao and me grew deeper. Amu's attitude toward me also softened a lot. Especially after I distributed the refined salt to the tribe. And everyone was eating until their faces were glowing. The way Amu looked at me finally changed from that of a mother-in-law to recognition. One day Amu found me alone. Anshin. How is your health recovering? When can you have a child for Xiao? You are the godly woman. Your children will surely be the strongest. My face turned red. Amu frowned. And ran to get a large piece of the most tender lean meat to give me. Eat more. How can you have children being this thin? When Xiao came back that evening, I told him what Amu said. He laughed loudly. And pulled me into his arms. Amu is right. You are too thin. You need to build yourself up. You're still laughing. Your mother is pressuring us. If it's time, it's time. Xiao looked down at me. His eyes tender. Have a child for me. Boy or girl, it doesn't matter. If it's a boy, I'll teach him to hunt. If it's a girl, you'll teach her about herbs. Do you want children? I do. He looked at me seriously. But I don't want you to work too hard. And my sister almost died giving birth. I'm afraid. This was the first time Xiao showed a vulnerable expression in front of me. This man who killed tigers and horses in the forest. This man whose word was law in the tribe. Was actually afraid that something would happen to me in childbirth. It won't. I am the godly woman. The heavens will protect me. And I know about herbs. I will take good care of myself. Really? He looked at me like a child. Really? I kissed the tip of his nose. When I've recovered my health, we will have one. That night, Xiao held me very, very tightly. As if he wanted to meld me into his bones. In the blink of an eye. It had been 2 months since I crossed into the Tianeo tribe. I had learned their language. Although I spoke it haltingly. Daily communication was no longer a problem. The people in the tribe all called me Anshin. The children liked to circle around me. When the women had headaches or fevers, they would all come to me for herbs. The firing of pottery was finally successful. I had figured out the most suitable clay mix, proportions, and firing temperature. The fired pottery was rough, but it could already hold water and boil soup. The big stone pot was completely retired, replaced by several pottery jars of different sizes. The largest one could boil an entire small beast. Salt production had also increased. I led the women to areas near the tribe to find several outcrops of rock ore. Although the purity wasn't high, extracting it was much easier than using plant ash. First, the men were asked to crush the rock and carry it back. Then the women and I dissolved it in water, filtered it, and boiled it down. We could make several bowls of salt in a day. When the tribe people ate food with salt for the first time, Their expressions were pure joy. What made me happiest was that I found a patch of wild grain near the tribe that looked like modern millet. It was a heavy, golden brown expanse. I picked a few ears and rubbed them open. Though the grains were small, they were very plump. What is this? Aiwe looked at it curiously. This is food. Aiwe, this stuff can be planted. Once planted, it will grow into more food. In the future, you won't have to just eat meat. You can have porridge and pancakes. My voice was trembling with excitement. Aiwe's eyes widened. It can grow just by being in the ground? It can grow by being planted? No need to risk our lives in the forest with beasts? I nodded hard. As long as it's planted, watered, and weeded, it can be harvested in a few months. That night, after Xiao returned, Aiwe told him about the grain. Xiao looked at me, his eyes full of pride. On the third day, Xiao took a few men to clear a piece of land by the stream. On the fourth day, I sowed the seeds of the wild grain. I was so tired I couldn't even straighten my back. Sitting on the edge of the field and panting, Xiao walked over and handed me a water skin. Tired? But it's worth it, Xiao. Once this food grows, the tribe will never have to worry about having nothing to eat. In winter again. Xiao was silent for a while. Every winter, people die in the tribe. There's less prey. The weather gets cold, and the elderly and children can't pull through. My heart felt heavy, and I gripped his hand tightly. Not this year. With salt, with food, and with pottery to boil soup. No one will die this year. However, the peaceful days didn't last long. That day, Xiao took the men hunting. Aiwe and I were in the tribe boiling salt when suddenly, the man responsible for keeping watch ran down from high ground. Someone's coming. A lot of people. It's the Dongshi tribe. At least 30 males. My mind raced. The Tianao tribe only had a total of 40 or so males. And there were fewer than 20 left in the tribe. Everyone, grab your weapons. And gather around the fire. Women and children, get into the huts. I shouted. The people of the Dongshi tribe soon appeared in sight. At their head was a tall man, with a face full of scars. Listen up, people of the Tianao tribe. I am Yan, the leader of the Dongshi tribe. I heard a godly woman has come to your tribe, who can also make salt. Hand her over. The godly woman is Zhao's woman. You cannot take her away. Since Xiao isn't here, do you really think just you few can stop me? Ha 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 ha. I took a step forward. You're looking for me? Yan's gaze fell on me. You're the godly woman? Come with me and be my woman. And if I refuse? Then I'll kill all the men in your tribe. And snatch away all the women. Are you sure you want to snatch me? Do you know what kind of man Xiao is? When he comes back and sees that his woman is gone, what do you think he'll do? Yan's expression shifted several times. No matter how powerful Xiao is, he's just one man. Then try your luck. Xiao can kill 2 giant horses alone. And he can kill a tiger beast with his bare hands. How long will it take him to kill your 30 men? I took out a small pottery bottle and held it up. The contents of this, even if just a little is scattered in your water source, your entire tribe will bleed from every orifice and die. Yan's face changed drastically, and he subconsciously took a step back. I was bluffing, of course. That small pottery bottle was filled with powdered herbs that only caused diarrhea. Just then, a long roar came from the distance. The leaves on the trees shook and fell. Yan's face changed completely. Yan, you dare touch my woman? I will slaughter your entire clan. Zhao's roar came from far to near. Yan bit his teeth. He and his men disappeared into the woods in disarray. Zhao practically flew back. He was covered in blood. He hugged me. I'm fine. I leaned into his embrace. Tears flowing uncontrollably. For the next half-month, I was incredibly busy. I dug a circle of traps around the tribe, hid all the refined salt, and had Xiao contact the leaders of the Fengyan and Mingye tribes. We told them that the Dongshi tribe wanted to steal the salt. If they were willing to join forces against Dongshi, the Tianao tribe would share the salt with them. Half a month later, the allied forces of the 3 tribes marched grandly to the entrance of the Dongshi tribe. Yan looked at the formation before him, his face ashen. Yan, you touch my woman. I destroy your tribe. Xiao, I was just momentarily confused. I give you 2 choices. First, you die. And your tribe is merged into Tianao, Fengyan, and Mingye. Second, you hand over half of your tribe's prey and skins. And every year you send 10 prey and 10 skins to the Tianao tribe. You're dreaming. Then the first choice it is. Xiao raised his stone axe. And the men behind him roared in unison. Yan finally broke down. I choose the second one. That day, the Dongshi tribe moved out a mountain of prey and beast skins. Xiao carefully chose a few of the softest skins to bring back to me. Xiao, will anyone else come to snatch me in the future? No. After today, everyone knows the price of touching my woman. Xiao, teach me to hunt. He was stunned for a moment. You want to hunt? Teach me how to use a stone axe and how to protect myself. Xiao was silent for a while, then smiled. Good, I'll teach you. That night, the moonlight was like water. Xiao taught me how to hold a stone axe step by step. He even helped me adjust my posture. I took a deep breath, swung the stone axe, and struck hard against the wooden post in front of me. The post split wide open. By the distant bonfire, Awa sat with Tuanzi, watching us in the moonlight, a warm smile on her face. She turned to Amu nearby. Amu. Anshin will surely have many, many children for Xiao. Amu smiled rarely. Of course. As for me, I leaned into Zhao's arms, looking at the starlit sky. No matter how many difficulties and obstacles lay ahead, I would no longer be afraid. Because he is here. They are here, and everything I want to protect is here.